Have you ever wondered how some people remain calm when the world around them seems to be falling apart? How do they smile through sickness, loss, and disappointment? How do they keep walking when the road beneath them shakes with uncertainty? Let me tell you today, peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is the presence of God's power within the problem. We often pray for the storm to stop, for the winds to quiet, for the sea to still. But sometimes God doesn't calm the storm around you. He calms you in the storm. Because His peace isn't about removing the trouble, it's about giving you the strength to stand through it. The world offers a counterfeit peace, temporary relief, fleeting comfort, a momentary escape. But the peace that comes from above is deeper. It settles into your soul even when your circumstances refuse to change. It whispers, "You're not alone. I'm still in control." My friend, peace is not a reward. It's a relationship. You can't purchase it. You can't fake it. You can't force it. You must abide in it. And that begins when you trust the one who said, "My peace I give to you, not as the world gives." If your heart feels restless today, if anxiety keeps knocking on your door, if fear has been robbing your sleep, this message is for you. Because we are about to discover how to find peace in all things, not just in the good moments, but in the grief, the pressure, the waiting, and the unknown. And here's the truth. God doesn't promise to take away every storm, but He does promise to give you peace through every storm. Peace that will anchor your soul when your emotions drift. Peace that will guard your mind when doubt rises. Peace that will carry you when your strength is gone. By the end of this message, you won't just understand peace. You'll experience it. You'll learn how to silence the noise of worry with the whisper of faith. You'll discover how to let God's presence become your resting place. And you'll see that the same hands that shaped the stars can also steady your heart. So don't turn away, don't click away, stay with me. Because what you're about to hear could be the calm your soul has been searching for. Today, let's step into the still waters of His promises and find peace in all things. When I say peace is not the absence of trouble, but the presence of God, I'm speaking to the heart that has been fighting battles no one else sees. You can hide your pain behind a smile, but deep down, the waves are crashing. Life has a way of shaking even the strongest among us. You can be walking faithfully, doing everything right, and still feel surrounded by storms. That's when you discover peace doesn't come when everything settles down. Peace comes when you realize who stands beside you in the storm. Some of you are waiting for your situation to change before you rest. You're thinking, once this problem is over, I'll have peace. But let me tell you something powerful. Peace doesn't wait for calm waters. It walks on top of them. Peace is not what happens when life is perfect. Peace is what happens when you realize that the one who controls the wind and the waves is still in control of your life. There's a reason Scripture tells us that even though we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we fear no evil. Why? Because of His presence. Not because the valley isn't dark, not because the danger isn't real, but because the shepherd walks beside us. That's the secret. You can be surrounded by chaos and still be calm on the inside. You can lose things, face rejection, endure disappointment, yet remain steady because peace lives in you, not around you. You see, the world teaches us that peace means everything's fine. But God's peace says, even when it's not fine, I am still faithful. The storms might rage, but they cannot reach the place where God's presence dwells. You don't need every question answered to have peace. You just need to know who holds the answers. So stop waiting for the storm to end. Invite Him into it. When He steps in, the same chaos that once scared you begins to serve you. The same wind that tried to break you starts to carry you. That's what happens when peace isn't something you search for. It's someone you walk with. And when you walk with Him, no storm, no fear, no darkness can ever take that peace away. When I tell you that God's peace transcends understanding, I mean it goes beyond logic, beyond reasoning, beyond anything your mind can calculate. There are moments when life doesn't make sense, when the diagnosis arrives, when the door slams shut, when the prayer seems unanswered, and you're left asking, how can I possibly have peace in this? Yet somehow there's a calm that settles deep within you, and you can't explain it, you can't describe it, you just know it's real. That's the kind of peace only God can give. It's a peace that shows up when your mind should be racing and your heart should be breaking. It's the peace that holds you steady when everything around you is shaking. People may look at you and say, "How are you so calm right now?" And the only answer you can give is, "I don't know, but I know who's holding me." That's what it means when we say His peace transcends understanding. It surpasses logic. It silences fear. It defies human explanation. You can't manufacture this peace. You can't fake it with positive thinking. You can't download it, purchase it, or produce it. It's not the result of trying harder. It's the fruit of trusting deeper. When you release your need to control everything, that's when peace walks in. When you stop asking, why, and start saying, I trust you, peace begins to flood the places worry once ruled. I've seen it in hospital rooms where the machines are beeping and loved ones are whispering prayers, yet somehow there's a stillness, a holy quiet that fills the air. I've seen it in people who've lost everything yet still lift their hands and say, God is good. That's not natural peace. That's supernatural peace. You see, the mind wants to understand everything, but peace doesn't live in the mind. It lives in the heart that trusts. You may not understand the how or the why, but you can rest in the ooh. And when you do, something miraculous happens. Your fears lose their voice, your doubts lose their grip, and your heart finds rest in the arms of the one who never fails. That's peace beyond understanding, calm in confusion, strength in weakness, stillness in the storm. And that same peace, that unexplainable, unshakable peace, grows deeper when you learn the secret of stillness in a chaotic world. We live in a time where noise never stops. The phone buzzes, the headlines scream, the world keeps shouting for your attention. Everyone's in a hurry, chasing something, fearing they'll miss something. But peace isn't found in the rush, it's found in the stillness. It's not discovered in the crowd, it's whispered in the quiet. Do you know why so many people can't hear God's voice? It's not because He's silent, it's because we're too loud. We're running from meeting to meeting, scrolling from post to post, worrying from morning to night. And all the while, the Spirit is saying, be still and know that I am God. Stillness is not weakness. It's strength under control. It's the moment when your soul stops fighting and starts trusting. When chaos surrounds you, stillness becomes your weapon. Because when you're still, you shift the battle from your hands to God's hands. You're saying, Lord, I don't have to figure this out. You already have. That's when anxiety loses its authority. That's when fear begins to fade. Stillness is where peace starts breathing again. I think of a lake on a windy day, waves splashing, water restless, sky uncertain. But the moment the wind stops, the water becomes a mirror reflecting the heavens above. That's what happens in your heart when you choose stillness. The winds of worry stop, and suddenly your life starts reflecting the peace of heaven. Maybe right now, everything in your life feels noisy, too many voices, too many choices, too much pressure. But what if I told you that God's greatest work in you often happens in the quiet? He doesn't need chaos to prove His power. He needs your calm to show His presence. When you stop striving and start resting, that's when He starts moving. So don't fear the still moments. Don't rush past the silence, because sometimes the answer you've been waiting for isn't in the thunder or the earthquake. It's in the gentle whisper that comes when you finally sit still enough to hear it. And when you finally hear that gentle whisper, it calls you to one simple truth. Faith is the pathway to peace. Because stillness alone isn't enough. It's what you choose to believe in that stillness that makes the difference. You can sit in silence and still be consumed by fear. You can stop moving but still be restless inside. Peace doesn't come from doing nothing. It comes from trusting someone. Every time fear knocks on the door of your heart, faith must be the one to answer. Fear says, "What if it all falls apart?" Faith replies, "Even if it does, God will hold me together." Fear screams, "You're not strong enough." Faith whispers, "He is." That's the battle, not outside you, but within you. The moment you start believing God is who He says He is, that's when peace begins to rise. Some of you have been trying to hold everything in your own hands. You're wrestling with problems you were never meant to carry, and the longer you hold on, the heavier it becomes. But faith says, let go. Faith releases what control cannot fix. When you finally surrender, peace floods in like a river breaking through a dam. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start trusting. Faith isn't the absence of questions. It's the presence of confidence. It says, I don't know how, but I know who. It believes that even when the path is dark, there's still purpose in every step. And when that belief settles in your heart, anxiety loses its grip and peace takes its place. Think about Peter stepping out of the boat. The storm didn't stop when he took that step. It was still raging. But for that one moment, his focus wasn't on the waves, it was on the one who walked above them. And as long as his eyes stayed fixed in faith, peace held him up. The moment he looked down, fear pulled him under. That's a picture of every one of us. The direction of your focus determines the depth of your peace. So when fear rises, don't feed it, fight it with faith. Every time you choose to trust instead of tremble, you strengthen your peace, and that peace becomes your anchor, your refuge, your unshakable calm in a world that refuses to stand still. And once that peace becomes your anchor, it does something powerful. It doesn't stay inside you. It begins to flow through you. You start living as a beacon of peace in a world drowning in chaos. Because real peace is never selfish. When God fills your heart with His calm, it's not meant to be contained, it's meant to be carried. Everywhere you go, every person you meet, every situation you walk into, you bring that peace with you. The world doesn't need more noise, more panic, or more opinions. It needs people who carry quiet strength. People who walk into storms and still speak softly. People who face hostility but answer with grace. When you have the peace of God, you become an atmosphere changer. You don't let the world dictate your tone. You let heaven define your response. You might be surrounded by people who are anxious, angry, or afraid. But when they see you standing firm, when they sense your calm spirit, they begin to wonder, what do they have that I don't? That's when your peace becomes your witness. It preaches louder than words ever could, because people can argue with your theology, but they can't argue with your tranquility. You become like a lighthouse on a dark, restless sea, steady, shining, unwavering. Ships may be tossed, waves may crash, but your light stays fixed. And that light points others home. That's what true peace does. It guides, it calms, it restores, it reminds others that even in the storm, there's safety near the shore. So when you step into a room, let your presence speak peace before your mouth ever does. Let your attitude carry gentleness. Let your reactions reflect trust. Because every time you respond with patience instead of panic, kindness instead of conflict, you are showing the world what divine peace looks like in human form. And here's the beauty of it. The more you share peace, the more it multiplies. The calmer you become, the more you calm others. The stronger your faith, the steadier your surroundings. Peace is contagious when it's real, and when it's rooted in God, it never runs dry. That's how the world begins to change, not through louder voices, but through quieter hearts filled with unshakable peace.